When Master Duel was released to the public in January 2022, no one was ready for the gonzo format that existed at the intersection of Rongo Miniad, Block Dragon, True King of All Calamities, Heavy Metal Thunder Dragon Colossus, Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon, number 42 Galaxy Tomahawk. So, after a standard format cycle of about 4 months, on May 9th, Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel would receive its first ban list. And it was awful. After 4 months of the same format, Konami would cook up its first Master Duel list, but despite 4 months in the oven, the ban list would come out a wee bit rare, just a tad bit undercooked. The ban list would achieve the impossible feat of correctly identifying the most wanted, while coming woefully short of any death sentence. Pulling up Road to the King's results show you all you need to know. Turns out, Conquistador 1 was not enough to dislodge Floodgate Turbo from the top tables. Oh, and did you know? This ban list set up questionable precedents like how not a single UR was hit. Many Doomers saw this as a sign of Konami's greed. Since the ban list policy guaranteed refunds for any card hit, it seemed pretty clear they were being a little stingy with the refunds. Similarly, there was an element of culture shock as many Western TCG players were unfamiliar with semi-limits, only exposed to it as the Destiny Hero malicious holding cell. Speaking of TCG players, let's address the insect in the room. Since the original Master Duel Forbidden and Limited list was made in God's image, that is, the OCG ban list, the card Maxi came unlimited at 3 copies. With Maxi a longtime TCG prisoner, the only cope with TCG players was that they'd see the C on this new list, and that didn't happen. Luckily, between the combined arms of Singleton semi-limits and the presence of Maxi, combo decks like Adamancipator would lose all relevancy. Yippee! To add insult to injury, while the ban list would prove largely inconsequential to the meta at the time, this ban list would have lasting consequences as the meta evolved over time, with many of these pilot episode hits still being active to this day, weakening decks that are way past their expiration date. To be fair, Mommy Konami did manage to improve the game in a roundabout way. See, Master Duel had a bit of a beep-boop auto-battler problem, and these bots were using DD Dynamite to eke out FTKs to farm gems. With the semi-limit of DD Dynamite, the FTK lost access to Trap Trick and thus actually did fall out of favor. However, Konami would only be kicking this tin can down the road, as the machines would scatter and search for their next farming deck. One very out-of-place hit on the ban list was to Fusion Destiny. Compared to the other cards on the list, very few players had ever actually seen this card be played. This was the very first preemptive hit, a new experimental form of format management that the Master Duel community would become intimately familiar with. Because 2 months later, another Forbidden and Limited list would release, with only 2 cards being imprisoned. The upcoming Adventure archetype would see 2 of its cards, Water Enchantress and Rite of Aramasir, put to before their release. While this hit would leave the 4 Adventure enthusiasts in shambles, it would not stop millions from deploying the Adventure engine into their decks. These preemptive hits would prove to be fairly divisive, with some traumatized TCG players glad that they wouldn't have to relive their nightmares in Master Duel, and Master Duel exclusive players as well as TCG masochists wanting to see Yu-Gi-Oh at peak performance. And while these cards were indeed URs, the preemptive hits would once again ensure that players would not be seeing their refund checks in the mail, once again reinforcing the idea that big UR dust had their clutches on the ban list pocketbooks. But with the first 2 ban lists in the books and largely disappointments, Konami would go back to the lab, and 1 month later, a breakthrough. But that's for the next time.